In the summer of 1985, people across Los Angeles became terrified to sleep. Doors were locked, windows were checked repeatedly. Families stayed awake through the night, because somewhere in the darkness, a killer was entering homes silently, attacking complete strangers while they slept. No clear pattern, no warning, no mercy, and police had no idea who he was. The media gave him a name that would terrify an entire city, the Night Stalker. This is the horrifying story of Richard Ramirez. During the mid-1980s, Southern California was living in fear. Victims were being attacked inside their own homes. Men, women, elderly couples, even children. Investigators struggled to understand the killer's pattern, because there barely was one. Different neighborhoods, different victims, different weapons. Sometimes he used a gun, sometimes a knife, sometimes a hammer. The randomness made the attacks even more terrifying. Nobody knew who might be next. But one disturbing detail kept appearing at multiple crime scenes, a symbol detectives couldn't ignore. As investigators examined the crime scenes, they noticed signs of satanic imagery connected to several attacks. Richard Ramirez appeared obsessed with darkness and fear. Survivors later described him as emotionless, calm, almost inhuman during the attacks. Witnesses gave similar descriptions: thin build, dark curly hair, intense eyes. But in a city of millions, that wasn't enough. Meanwhile, the attacks continued. Night after night, each new murder increased public panic. News stations warned residents constantly. Gun sales increased, alarm systems sold out, fear spread across California. But despite the fear, Richard Ramirez made one mistake that would eventually expose him. In August 1985, investigators finally discovered an important piece of evidence: a stolen car connected to one of the attacks. Inside the vehicle, detectives found a fingerprint. The print belonged to Richard Ramirez, a man with a long criminal history. Once police released his photograph to the media, everything changed. The face of the Night Stalker was suddenly everywhere: newspapers, television broadcasts, store windows. The entire city was now searching for one man. What made Richard Ramirez especially terrifying was how unpredictable he appeared. Random victims, random locations, night attacks, no clear motive. Criminal profilers later described him as highly impulsive, driven by violence, fear, and psychological control. Unlike many serial killers, Ramirez didn't carefully plan a specific victim type, which made him even harder to stop. But in the end, Richard Ramirez wasn't captured by police first. He was captured by ordinary people. On August 31st, 1985, Richard Ramirez returned to Los Angeles, unaware his face had already spread across the city. As he walked through a neighborhood, people immediately recognized him. Someone shouted, "That's him!" Within moments, residents began chasing Ramirez through the streets. Angry crowds surrounded him before police finally arrived. The Night Stalker had been captured by the very community he terrorized. During the trial, Richard Ramirez showed little emotion, sometimes smiling in court, sometimes making disturbing statements to reporters. Prosecutors connected him to numerous murders and violent attacks across California. In 1989, Richard Ramirez was convicted on multiple counts of murder and sentenced to death. But decades later, the fear surrounding the Night Stalker case still remains unforgettable, because Richard Ramirez changed how people viewed safety itself. He proved something terrifying. Evil doesn't always wait in dark alleyways. Sometimes it enters quietly through your front door while you sleep. And for months, an entire city lived in fear of a man hiding in the darkness. Subscribe to Crime Time Breakdown for more disturbing criminal cases and psychological true crime documentaries.